So in the spirit of doing a little bit of an intro, Steve Blanchard in New York, Empire State Warranty, and I've known you since the day you walked into an interview in a Hilton Garden Inn in New York State. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know.
You didn't want me, by the way. You said I couldn't make it.
I said you weren't going to make it. Negative reverse. Um,
Yeah.
and Yeah, got to make sales calls with you. I'm thinking it's interesting. I actually I'm wondering, do I know you longer than anybody else in my community? And other than Mark Govero, who runs Aegis Home Warranty, uh, I may know you longer than
We
anybody.
met, so 2013, July of 2013 is when I started PWI, and that's where we melted to Hilton with you, me, and Pete Horn, and
Yeah.
that was the beginning. But we clicked
Yeah,
really
so I
we
probably
we
have
clicked
known
really fast. I mean, first couple months,
Yeah,
so
I've
it
known
was
Buddy Tuchinski longer than, and I've known Mark Govero longer, but it's been a long damn time. And I got to see your development, of course, and then understand what it was like for you to grow, but also struggle with a new company owner. And we stayed in touch and talked in that way. And then to see you launch your own business and get started, like a crazy man, it must be crazy, right? And here it is going well.
yeah.
So can you just fill in a little bit of who you are, that journey, and what is going on? What is Empire State and people? How many people are in the company, and just a little bit of background like that.
Yeah. We struggle a little bit of where to begin here, but what I would say is, so I've been in the service contract space for a little over 13 years now. That's where good old Wayne Herring Jr. and fellow compadre hired me for PWI. It was my first B2B position. And you know, worked my way up the totem pole at PWI in 8 years. Or well, was that 8 years? I think it was more closer to 6 years. Was top sales rep in 2016 for them. Got promoted to regional manager in 2017 in the Mid Atlantic. And there's just a lot of changes in that company. It was a great learning experience for me because I saw best of both worlds. I saw the family-owned herring business towards the tail end, but I also saw the corporate America side and how that worked. I saw the ins and outs of leadership. I built a market from the ground. It was just a really good cultivating, learning experience. And I share this because it allowed me to do what I do now, and starting Empire State Warranty. But that journey with PWI ended in 2019. Um, we had a mutual severance. Just didn't see eye to eye with some things. And It's funny how that worked. I worked IT briefly for a year. I thought I really thought to myself, well, this is a corporate America issue, so let me try to help build this small IT company in Albany grow. I was always like that. I always had this entrepreneur mindset to try to help others to grow and use my skill set in order to do it, and hopefully I'd make good money doing it. And when I worked with this small company, that other owner was psychopath, and
Hmm.
I said, "Holy crap! This isn't a small business or corporate thing. This is a people thing." And
Hmm. Good distinction. Yeah.
I said, I'm never gonna, this definition of being safe is dependent upon the person you report to or the type of mindset that an owner has in a business. And I don't think I'll ever have the confidence in somebody else because I don't know what they're thinking or how they tick. You can only say so much, but you really don't know at the end of the day. And the person that I know best is me and what I want and what I can do and my skill sets. So that kind of was I guess, the smoke that created that entrepreneur thought process of starting Empire. It was the lack of confidence I had in other people to protect me at the end of the day in a professional setting. And that's when we spoke. And I said, I think I want to do my own thing. And, Wayne said, well, we talked for, I think, a couple minutes, and he saw my strengths and my career path. And he said, well, why don't you just start your own warranty company? And I said, how the hell am I going to do that? And I was so lost. I didn't, it's this is, I tell this story all the time. I tell this story in podcasts, I tell the story to dealers. And it was just so flippant and so like, just do it. Just do it. And that's just Wayne. And and I was really scared. I was very, very scared. But it was something we were coming into COVID. We were in COVID during that time frame.
Yeah.
It was 2020.
Yeah.
So COVID was hot and heavy, and I think in a way COVID was probably the best area to do that as well, because the world was in a position where we were kind of on pause. There wasn't, like everybody was doing stuff virtually. I think it really was a petri dish for entrepreneurs to maybe kickstart, because we were all kind of working for ourselves anyways, kind of in a pseudo way, regardless. And I said, you know what? I feel like if I don't do this, I'm gonna regret it. And regardless of if I succeed or if I fail, at the end of the day, I know, hey, at least I tried, and let's give this a true shot. So at the time, Wayne referred me over to a gentleman he knew in the TPA space. His name was Garen. He was CEO of True Warranty Sidecars, another third-party administrator company. They're no longer in business now, but had a really good conversation with him. And they had a white label program where I felt like I could build brand recognition. It really scratched the itch of what I went to school for, which was marketing, that I felt like I could use their tools and skill sets, and I could build a brand. And and that's where Empire State Warranty was born. We white labeled underneath their company, and that was a perfect fit. And a little over 2 years, there's a fork in the road. There, I had to make a determination if I wanted to continue to be white labeling. True Warranty was going in a different direction. I was kind of going in a different direction as well. It was kind of like a partnership. When you white label, you're partnered, right? 'Cause somebody's making your own bread. You're just putting your name on it. And that's when I had another conversation with Wayne. And we talked, and he's like, well, what's your end goal here? And I said, my end goal is to be my own thing. And in his flippant way, he goes, well, why don't you just do it then?
I don't know if I like this whole flippant way of going about.
I say that because it was more methodical with the way we talked about it, right? I don't want it to sound like, there's a 2-second conversation and then I just did it. That's not the case. But the reason why I kind of think of it that way is because my brain was going in 85 different directions, and Wayne's like, you just got to push through it, man. You just got to do it, So when I say flipping, it's kind of where my brain thinks, because, Wayne was.
Other people in my orbit and in Business Builder will know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I appreciate the hell out of him for it, because he gave me the nudge to do what I did. And I don't think I lacked the confidence in myself in doing these things, but there's no reason to. It was just fear. It's just pushing through fear, right? So I decided to become my own third-party administrator at that point. I brought in my wife to handle my operations and office. And it took about a year to get all licensed and get everything set up. We built our programs from the ground up. I marketed them accordingly. Brought on a compliance company. I did all the work myself to find the underwriter and find the compliance company. And, because in our industry, you need a clip for the majority of the states you go into, which is claim loss insurance policy. It's called something a little different in New York. It's called a service contract reimbursement insurance policy. Being
backing a
a,
bigger insurance company
yeah,
behind the
back.
product
Yeah,
that
it's
you're
it's required in our
putting into.
business.
Right.
And there's one of like 7 or 8 companies that really kind of do it, that are legit. So you got to get into the front of them, and you got to kind of make your spiel, and they gotta either say, yeah, we'll take you on, or no. And
And
have a
believe you're going to pay the bills and that you're
yep.
right, that you're charging enough and know what you're doing and all that. Yeah.
And got the thumbs up for one of those companies. Thank God, we weren't doing a ton of business so at the time, but somebody took a
You're a
chance on
good
us.
salesman, Blanchard.
Yeah, yeah, and they were reaping the rewards now, so that they should be glad that they got the they did
Yeah.
thumbs up. So yeah, and that's how it began. And our first year in 23, coming out of white label, company was doing a little over $500,000. And then when we became our own third party administrators, the dealers really bought in, because now they're like, oh, he's all in now. This is him, this is his wife, this is his family owned business. And we
Cool.
really
Yeah.
exploded in 24. I mean, we grew from that 500,000 to 3.4 million in 24. And then I think this year, I was just talking to my director of finance. I think we did a little over 5. So we almost doubled again. And I mean, I wasn't expecting another 2x going into 24 or 25. And it was just like, it's a snowball. So from a company that started white label to just me and my wife, now we have an office. We have 9 employees. The ninth is coming in on Monday. And it's been a wild ride. It's kind of a little surreal of how quickly we've gotten to that point. And, frankly, a little over 2 years. And I think it's quite interesting how quick it happened.
Um, so, and we go on, like, keep going on this forever, but two things come to mind worth sharing with other business owners, and partially why I know like you're a good fit for this community. One is I've watched you on, LinkedIn, which is a place where you publicly go to share things like this. You celebrate your car dealer customers, you celebrate them, you have invested in gathering them together to say thank you and to provide training for them. So you really have this belief of like caring for those who are trusting, even use words like that. They've trusted us, they've worked with us, they saw that like I was committed, that my wife and I were in this. So you're really customer centric. And then the other thing is, and partially this is through our conversations recently and through the business builder application you put in, you're really interested in building a company that has a strong culture and takes care of the employees, and then therefore where the employees want to take care of the customers, and it all kind of works together. You like the idea of having freedom and being able to have balance, which you're working on, which nobody knows exactly what that is. We're all solving for it. And profit, I don't, it's not that you're averse to making profit because it's the engine that keeps the whole thing going, but you're really customer centric and you're employee centric and seeing how this is a collection of people who get to do some worthwhile work in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. I look at profit or cash flow really as the security net to protect all my people and myself and my family at the end of the day. I'm not looking at it as anything else, um, other than that, really. If I want to grow and scale this, cash is king, right? You need to grow the business and make the money you need to do in order to accomplish the goals you have with the company. My end goal is for it to be self-sufficient. I don't want to be working the amount of hours I'm working right now to get to that point. I want to have balance. And the only way I have balance is having a more self-sufficient company at the end of the day. So the scaling aspect of my business comes down to that goal. And yeah, I'm a big believer in giving back to the people that got me there. So when it comes to the dealers, I mean, it's funny. I back when I was with PWI, and I was a Mid-Atlantic Regional. I talked to a lot of old school PWI dealers, John's Great Cars of the world, all these
Hmm.
other people, because I was a regional manager of the original market of PWI. And I heard a lot of stories of how the Herring family treated the dealers. and how much they missed it. There was a level of, man, we really love that.
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me because I was a believer in that. That came from my core, like that's the way that I've been built as a person myself. And I think a lot of companies in general have gotten away from it, like just celebrating who got you to where you needed to be. And I
Yeah.
think it does generate revenue at the end of the day too. I mean, it's not you're just spending money to say thank you. It
No.
fulfills you personally, but it also makes that relationship that much closer. And the
Yeah, no
closer the
doubt.
relationship gets, I mean, you're just going to grow with that person. You're buying into someone. It's almost like, you're going to do everything you can for your son or your daughter to sit there and be as successful as possible. It's pseudo that. You're going to do everything you can possible to make that business owner as successful as possible on the wholesale side. But you got to celebrate their wins too. And I'm a big believer in that, just personally and professionally. So yeah, we invest. We have a diamond dealer program, and top 20% of our dealers get a diamond status. We take them to this year. It's going to be the Sagamore Resorts in Lake George, which is a very iconic 4-star resort that everybody knows about up here. Really, really super nice. There's going to be a dealer 20 group that happens, an F&I training that's there, an award ceremony. So we blend it in multiple areas. It's like vacation, like so it's a little like kind of getaway for the dealers and some of the people that we're recognizing. It's an award ceremony. It's fun. It's networking, but it's learning too. I'm trying to accomplish all three in really a weekend. And and that's really resonated with a lot of guys too. I think they get excited about it. It creates a little level of internal competition with our dealers. They're always saying, "Hey, am I going to make it? Am I going to be
Yeah,
diamond?" And I always think that's healthy and good. And
definitely.
Also another thing because I think this correlates with what you're saying, Wayne, is our motto of our company. And I say this pretty much every week in our team meeting: do the right thing always. I just say, do the right thing always. If you think you're not doing the right thing, you're probably not doing the right thing. And if you want to reconfirm that, talk to me, talk to whoever is your superior, talk to anybody within our own culture, and they'll tell you and they'll reaffirm if it's the right or the wrong thing. But I value doing the right thing for everybody. I'll give you an example of this. Sales reps, I have 2 sales reps on the road right now that work directly for me, W-2 employees, work on salary plus commission. And we basically paid for gas um, for them on the road, but we were running into issues with depreciation of their cars. And I had to figure out, do I want to do a car allowance with them? What do we want to do here? Because the right thing to do is to take that into account because some of my reps were like, I'm putting 40,000 miles a year on my car, Steve. Like we should be doing something. And I've helped them out with some like mechanical bills and stuff like that because I knew at the time, but that wasn't sustainable, right? I knew that, and I could do that for a small team, but as we grow, that wouldn't be the case. So we changed to a mileage reimbursement program very recently that's in effect February 1st. We're going to be paying more money for this, but it's the right thing to do, and that was identified. I listened to my people. It made sense. It's protecting them. And in a way, it holds accountability too, because they're tracking their mileage and we can, track,
Yeah,
working time. So there is an
on the
element of
road. Yeah,
that. But we're doing the right thing by taking care of them in all aspects. And so our values don't just come from our dealer side, it comes from internal too. We provide 6 weeks of PTO for our team. Which some people might think that's a little crazy. But
for a small company, it is. It's
yeah,
not crazy. I'm just saying, like for a small company, it
yeah,
stands out.
but I'm a believer in a couple things. I'm a very big mental health advocate. I personally come through. I'm in remission for major depressive disorder as an owner. I think you should get 4 weeks of vacation. And
So,
then 1 week is sick time. I don't think your sick time should come from your vacation time. If you're sick, you're sick. And then you have 1 week of personal, which is really the mental health aspect of it. So that's the 6th week. Is there's days where your mental health is not there, and I'm not going to force you to be on the road if you're mentally not there because you're not going to be at your best and you're not going to perform. So what's the point? You're just checking the box. And guess what? You're held accountable to your performance anyway. So if you want to take all your 6 weeks off, awesome as a sales team, but you're going to work that much harder at the end of the day anyway. So, um, so we have a really strong package. Not just that, we do 401k, 6% match on 401k. We have a lot of different things. We pay for almost $900 of health benefits per employee, which is a large sum of money. So we have an extremely strong package when it comes to taking care of our people, which the end result of that is I never thought this when I created it. I was just trying to do the right thing for the people that were going in. But the residual result of that was the type of talent coming in the door. We have an
Mhm.
elevated level of talent. We might be paying a little bit less for some of that, and they could probably get more money elsewhere. But our work-life balance and having all these have brought in people that are probably taking a little bit less money, but have talent acumen where they could get more money elsewhere. And it's because they feel like they're getting a work-life balance that they want. They're like, listen, I could make more money elsewhere, but I'd be working to the bone, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something where I feel comfortable and be a part of something, and that's been kind of something that I didn't expect but has been the result, which has been very fruitful for our growth.
Right. Yeah, and your mental health and focus on that is obvious in some of the other words, like creating safety for people and how you weren't able to get that yourself. So now you want to do it. So that's all cool. Last thing to wrap this part up is so in Business Builder, we do build businesses. We work on building businesses. We take a look at profit and loss. We look at sales process, things like that. Very important. And we also, people get to know each other and they understand what has gone on in each other's personal lives to a degree. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes, just it's as you go and feel safe about those things and you share more with your group. But family is important, and you've got two dogs, and you've been married, and so a little bit of like just share just a little bit about that, and then what do you do when you're not working, and anything with your health. You've talked about mental health, you invest in that, physical health and well-being. Just a little about you personally.
Yeah. Got two corgis, Welsh Pembroke corgis, Jody and
Do you call
Loki.
them kids?
No, I don't call them
Oh,
kids.
Craig, my our guy Craig calls his kids, and he's got like a
Uh,
camera like on them at home to see how they're
that's
doing and what they're up
that's
to.
that's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, they have little pet names, of course, but I don't call them kids. And that's fine if you do, because they do feel like our kids. But yeah, two fur babies, if you want to call them that. And then and then I got my wife. Been married for 6 years now, but we've been together since 2012, so 14
Yeah.
years. Um, and she works with me. And Yeah, I mean, what do I do in my free time? Big sports guy. Love sports. Probably too many sports at times. Football, hockey, baseball, NASCAR fan. Don't talk to me about the Bills right now. I'm not in a good place with them. I'm a diehard Bills fan. And something, honestly, my relaxed element is I'm a gamer, right? I play video games to kind of get away from life. Really, it's I love what Wayne has said in our previous conversation is we're just playing the game of life. Well, sometimes you need to get off the board for a second and I need to play a game of a game, So this is
Hmm.
a way of
This is
escaping.
part of living life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes me absorb in something outside of it, which allows my brain to turn off for a little while and just focus on one thing. 'Cause my brain's always thinking, so when I'm gaming, I can just think and focus on what I'm doing in that moment, which is kind of therapeutic in a way for me. So that's what I really do in my free time. I do play softball in the spring, like beer league softball. Um, Work out 3 times a week. Have a personal trainer.
Oh, good.
Really trying to focus on health. It's not when you grow up in certain, everybody has their certain environments they grow up in. I grew up in single family home. My dad worked 60, 70 hours, warehouse worker, came home with fast food every week, every day. So it's been a learning curve to get out of bad habits. And I'm big into trying to get myself to where I want to be there, and self-improvement is something that is definitely a foundational core of me. I feel like I do a really good job professionally. I'm working on it personally. That is something that I talk to my therapist quite frequently about is, man, you've done this on professional. Why don't you just focus on it personally? And now I'm at that point, right? So I focus on macro dieting and going to PT 3 times a week, and trying to eat the right things and get into better healthy habits that aren't just something that you do for a couple weeks and then it falls by the wayside. It becomes a part of your routine. And that's hard. It's hard to stay consistent with that, but I'm really on that kick right now, and I do believe in that. So it's kind of
Hmm.
one of those things that just being accountable for it.
It's awesome. Well, good. That's a great intro for everybody. So I appreciate you doing that.
Sure.